Hi, my name is Danielle Senior. I'm a singer-songwriter, a vocal producer. I'm signed to Notting Hill Music Publishing and 365 Artists. And I'm here at CM Music today to give a talk on the music industry. I had a strategy to get signed. In the beginning, the main thing that I wanted to do was build up a presence and make the right people know me. So I started out as an artist and I was gigging on the underground circuit at gigs like I Love Live and just generally making music and giving it out to DJs as and when I met them. So DJs on 1Extra and Kiss FM. And then I gradually became aware that I'd have to have some sort of strategy to get my foot in the door. And I'd always wanted to write for other artists. So I thought, well, one way of doing that is to get a publishing deal. So I basically made a record that was made around a popular genre of music at the time called bassline house, and gave the record to DJs. They started to play it, and then it got signed to all around the world, and I did my publishing deal once I'd done my record deal. I'd initially signed as an artist, but I then said to them I'd love to write for other artists, and they gave me the opportunity to write for other artists, and that's where it all started. The challenges behind not being signed compared to being signed, so I'll just talk about not being signed first. I think the main challenges are you want to reach a large audience, and you think that the way to do that is to have a machine behind you and a big marketing machine. In actual fact, you can do that yourself. You can use online media and social media and get yourself out there that way by doing covers. A lot of people do covers and do covers of pretty big popular songs at the time so that they get a lot of hits and a lot of views. So those challenges, when you're not signed, you can actually turn to your advantage. You can still reach a lot of people without being signed. I think the challenges once you're signed, in my own experience, is then you have to remember to not take your foot off the gas, and you have to be proactive. You have to remember that just because you're signed, it doesn't automatically make you a priority at the label. You have to keep on doing what you're doing and always remain proactive. And I think that's a challenge to overcome any complacency that you might have because you think you've made it. My first experiences of negotiations were, I was doing a production deal, and the producers at the time completely did the right thing and were my mentors at the time actually, and told me to go out and get my own lawyer and find and get neutral advice. So, and to always be aware of the business side of the music, because if you're not, then it's so easy for other people to pull the wool over your eyes in terms of a royalty rate, or whether they're taking your PPL, your VPL, your publishing, how much is your management company taking. You have to be aware of all of the standards, and luckily my producers had educated me to that, and anything that I didn't know, they would tell me to go out and figure out for myself. So my first experience of negotiating a contract was pretty straightforward actually, because I'd gone out and I'd found a great lawyer on their advice, and you have to go with your gut instinct on this. You have to find someone who you really think is going to back you 100% and not charge the earth for it, because one of the biggest dangers of finding a music lawyer is receiving a bill at the end of it for $6,000. So you have to always be aware of escalating costs. Any deals that you negotiate with publishing companies or record labels, you should always see if you can get a clause in the contract that says that the people who want to sign you are going to pay for your legal fees. I have a strict schedule, but it changes from week to week. It varies. So sometimes I'll be working in the studio, other people's studios, other producers' studios, but I also have a setup at home, so I'll work a lot at home sometimes. I'll work all different times of the day and night. There's no real time window that I give myself. If I have an idea and I'm inspired, then I'll make the time to get it down, even if that means recording it into my dictaphone or something. I think one of the biggest lessons that I've learned is to develop a thick skin and to not take things personally and to take criticism in a constructive way. Obviously, you hope that the person delivering the criticism is going to be diplomatic about it, but if they're not, it doesn't matter. You just have to have an infinite sense of self-belief and just carry on with that and never take anything too personally. Never let anything get to you. You have to have a really thick skin to be in the music industry. You have to know how to be disappointed time and time and again, because you're going to be disappointed a lot. The top tips I'd give to myself if I was talking to me 10 years ago would be to still remain proactive even after you've signed a record deal. It doesn't mean you've made it. You have to work just as hard as ever because you're competing with so many other artists. To relax, because it's all about timing. When opportunities arise, you have to be prepared for them. So that's where the timing comes into it. To not take things too personally and to look at your work, look at the music you create objectively. Just because you created something doesn't mean that you should take it personally if somebody doesn't like it, because everybody's going to have an opinion about what you do, whether you're the biggest artist on the planet or you're just starting out. So I think it's really important to have an objective viewpoint when it comes to your music, or at least learn to be able to look at your music objectively.